Mike Brown, Ramie, because the Mike Brown impact, and by the way, we will have your chance to win Kings tickets coming up over the next 10, 15 minutes, so you want to stay tuned for that. Kings Pacers tickets for you coming up. Do not miss out. The Mike Brown impact, Ramie, it has been real and it has been spectacular. Shifting culture, we've talked about that, right? The competitiveness of this team, just the feel, the vibes of this team. He has started to rebuild this culture slowly but surely. And last night, I tweeted this at Nick C Radio. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Nick C Radio, at Ramie is tweeting, Ramie is tweeting. Coach Brown took 2 timeouts last night to kind of stem the tide. You know, in the first half, he took a timeout. Team wasn't playing great. They get back into the huddle, and they go out there and they say, all right, here we go. They respond immediately, just like that. Then in the second half, same thing. Second half, Warriors have a run going. Kings not playing good basketball, a little sloppy to start the quarter out. Coach Brown calls one of those quick timeouts that we see all the time, right? I think it was the fourth quarter. First minute of the fourth, boom, calls a timeout. The guys, again, go to the sidelines, get into the huddle together. And again, for the second time, an immediate response from the basketball team. When you start to see that, when you see the team responding immediately after coach calls a timeout, that means that they're listening. And I'll have more about that in a minute. Something else that I noticed, Ramie, in the postgame, there was a theme. Now, I want you to listen to a couple of these sound bites and try to pick up the theme. Here was De'Aaron Fox talk with our friend Sean Cunningham at Fox.
At the end of the day, like basketball, at some level, you've probably ran, a few things, and you kind of just come in and there's communication. If we haven't done anything before, there has to be a lot of talk and a lot of trust in the guy behind you. So, like you said, everybody has bought in, and everybody wants to win, and everyone is doing what it takes to win. So if we go out there and we haven't done something before, then, I talk to one guy, he talks to the next guy, and we figure it out.
Everyone has bought in. Here was more from Fox.
Something could be good, something could be great, something can be perfect. So he wants to get as close to perfect as we possibly can. And even if we play well, I know he's going to have something to say, and I know what he's saying is to make me a better player and to make us a better team. So I'm always there to listen.
I'm always there to listen. Here was Keegan Murray last night.
Yeah, he tells us every day that there's something special here. We have a special group of players here, and we're all bought into that. And every single day, each guy goes to work, and we all want to be around each other. So that's key for a team that's hungry to win.
We all just bought into it. Ramie, when I hear those comments from Fox and Keegan last night, when I see this team responding to the timeouts that he's calling at the right times, that to me tells me these guys, they're listening to their head coach.
And you see it in the very specific moments that you talk about, Nick, where he calls these timeouts and clearly thinks there are some things that we need to talk about and get right before this thing gets out of control. But you also see it on the macro level and the big picture stuff. And like Keegan Murray talked about right there, the buy-in. You know what I mean? I said after media day that whatever the talent is on this roster and however it's going to gel together from a basketball standpoint, that remains to be seen. But unless I got fooled, I could tell sitting across the table from the handful of guys that we had a chance to sit down and talk to, that the buy-in and the belief before one game was tipped off, even in the preseason, that was real and that was sincere. And that can be taken out of you real quick with some of the stuff that went on early in the season. Some tough calls, De'Aaron Fox being injured, Domas getting off to the slow start, Keegan Murray dealing with what he dealt with. For a coach, I know we're going to talk about the Raiders here in about 10 minutes or so, but the opposite of what's going on in Las Vegas is going on with the Kings, where you have a coach that has 15 guys and whatever other fringe players are on the roster between here and the G League. But you have 15 guys pointed in the same direction and all believing the same thing and with one goal in mind.
Cattles and Ramie, Sactown Sports, and we talked about it last week, these moments where Mike Brown sits De'Aaron Fox until there's about 3 minutes left in a close game, believing in Davion Mitchell. Also, probably sending a little bit of a message to Fox about, hey, play some better defense here. We need you on that end of the floor. You know, the ability to look at Domas, who gets into really early foul trouble in a couple of instances, and the coach standing by Domas and saying, I trust that you're not going to get in more foul trouble and you're going to be able to figure this thing out, and Domas actually does. This is a team that is listening to their coach. They also, I think, enjoy playing for him because aside from all the conversation last night in the postgame about we've bought in, Domas also said this in the postgame.
Whenever a player, team, coach, staff member comes from another team, you always want to get that win against their former team, and it worked. Tomorrow we have off, so I'm happy we got this win.
So wanting to win for Coach Brown, and Domas was not the only guy who mentioned that last night, and Coach even talked about it. It felt good that those guys wanted to win this game for me. So not only are they listening to the coach, it also seems like they like playing for the coach. They enjoy the experience so far. And look, honeymoon phase, no doubt they're 12 games in. But they are early in this season. They're listening. They're enjoying themselves. And that's if you want to know how to take those baby steps to shift the culture and to take those baby steps to create an atmosphere where this team actually believes, as Mike Brown said, this is how you do it. These are the baby steps.
And any coach will tell you, I read Phil Jackson's book, 11 Rings. The first thing a coach has to do when he walks in the door, especially if there's a culture shift or a culture change needed, is you got to get your number one guy to buy in.
Yep.
And everybody falls in line behind that. Yep. Usually, if everybody's got their scruples, they fall in line behind number one. When Phil Jackson walked into Chicago, he knew it was Michael Jordan. When he walked into LA, there was like a 1A and 1B between Shaq and Kobe, and he knew he needed buy-in from those guys. For De'Aaron Fox, from day one, to say, yeah, send your trainer on my honeymoon. You know what I mean? Let me work on this jump shot. Let me cut the honeymoon early and get back to California and start getting to work on this new era for the Kings. That I think that says a lot, and it was a first big step in setting that tone for Mike Brown.
It's crazy when you look at Fox's production, and you're exactly right. Again, we're 12 games in, folks, but if you look at what Fox has done right now, 12 games in, Fox, if you look at the rest of his career, this is the best he has shot field goal percentage-wise by a long, long distance. This is the best he's shot from three. This is the best he has shot from the free throw line. This is the best, effective field goal percentage he has ever had. The most rebounds that he has ever had, total rebounds. When you look at points, 25.5 would be a career high. I mean, literally in almost every single statistical category, De'Aaron Fox has been better this year than he has ever been on an NBA floor. And that does have something to do with Mike Brown. And also the bench. Look, your bench doesn't produce unless it believes that it's a part of the team, unless it believes that the coach is going to lean on them. And that's what you see, whether it's Trey Lyles for a couple of games here and there, whether it's Malik Monk doing fantastic work. Man. I thought Terrence Davis had some really good, valuable minutes last night. Davion Mitchell going to Davion in the fourth quarter of games and saying, defend that guy, right? Give Steph Curry a headache. The bench guys, to get them to respond. Honeymoon phase, no doubt. I'm not about to send Mike Brown to the Hall of Fame just yet. But 12 games in, again, we look for small steps with this franchise. And right now, Mike Brown, it could not be going any better for him or the team.
No, it really couldn't. And, man, Malik Monk, dude, just so fun to watch. So fun to watch and so good for this team when he comes off the bench and he's right. I almost wore a Band-Aid today to do the show, but everybody, like on Saturday, I was like, wouldn't that be funny if I wore a Band-Aid on Monday? And then everybody did it.
Yeah.
So I felt like it lost some of its punch.
Yeah.
So I didn't, but man, is he fun. Man, is he fun.
He is a lot of fun. Sometimes he'll take a shot or two that might make you want to throw a remote control.
That's almost any player that's that fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're the microwavable offense kind of guy, like I said, before the season tipped off, they're bound to have a couple of those possessions when you go, wait, what's going on? What's happening here? Why did he take that shot that early? Why did he drive into traffic? But most of all, Malik's been fantastic. Your thoughts on Coach Brown? 916-339-1140 is the text line. The phone line,